Hello again, E-King here, and I'm just going to jump right into it. So in this last video, we learned about lying. We covered things like how to spot a liar and our primary reasons for lying. If you haven't seen my last video, how to spot a liar, I'd encourage you to go back and watch that video before moving on to this one, because in this video we're going to learn how to read body language so that you can get more accurate results and better profits in your business. Now, this is an excerpt from that was aired on the History Channel, and I'll be director's cutting it periodically so that we can point out those benefits that will get you the results you're looking for. So without further ado, let's get a pen and paper, take some notes, and let's get started.
Begin again. But are we getting all the message?
Colder, darker, many psychopaths, serial killers, handlers.
Research has shown that just 7% of human communication is through the actual words.
93% of what we communicate with others is nonverbal. 93%. Think about it.
Like she says, 93% of everything that we communicate is nonverbal. That's key. That's the whole reason why I want you to put emphasis on this tape here. Now, I'm going to do, as I said before, I'm going to do the director's cut of this movie or this video. The entire video is about, as you can see, about an hour and a half long. We're not going to go through the entire thing. I'm just going to director's cut some main points and show them, you'll be able to clearly see some of the things that people, the trained professional, uses to spot body language and interpret body language. And then we'll talk about how you can apply that in your business. So let's continue on.
Of that 93%. So it's our tone of voice, our pitch, our posture, micro expressions on our face, and different gestures that we might use. So we put all the significance on 7% for words. We shouldn't really be doing that.
Beyond the words lies a fascinating world of nonverbal communication. The secret world of body language. We're about to watch our wannabe world leaders, our sports stars.
Good morning.
We'll revisit famous figures from recent history.
Because people have got to know whether or not their president is Trump. Well, I'm not a president. I earned everything I've got.
We'll view our celebrities with fresh eyes. We're going to show how people in the public eye try to control the way we perceive them. And how sometimes, despite their best efforts, the truth leaks out.
Whoever it might be, if the truth is told, then my name will be cleared and I can move on with my life.
If you know what to look for.
It's not what you're seeing, it's what you're not seeing. And you're not seeing an anger response.
We're going to equip you with the tools to read those body language giveaways.
You're getting a hidden peek, a peek into the world of what's really going on there. When you can read body language, every moment you spend with others, you can make it valuable, and if you're in business, you can make it profitable. Body language is crucial.
For those who study nonverbal communication, one of the first indicators they look out for is the way someone's body moves. At this Camp David summit, President Bush is the host to visiting Russian President Vladimir Putin.
Vladimir Putin knows the world is watching him on American soil, and he also knows that his people are watching, so he must show strength.
Here, though, both leaders are making a strong body language statement.
Now here we are, two powerful world leaders in a sort of striding contest, because of course the faster you stride, the more strong, powerful and fit you are.
But it's not just the speed of walking that sends out messages.
Vladimir Putin and George Bush, both of whom are fantastically powerful men, have two completely different kinds of power, and it evidences itself through body language.
Thank you all for coming.
Vladimir Putin has what I would call a very animal power. a strongman power. And he walks by having his shoulders, they're actually bouncing back and forth. And he walks, he also makes gestures, he's very active. I would almost call it a kind of sexy power. George Bush, on the other hand, has a more traditional, and I would say, American power. There's very little movement above the shoulders. He's trying to look like he's controlled. There's no extra wasted energy.
Thank you all for coming.
Perceiving the body language message of these two powerful presidents is straightforward, but body language is often complex and easily misunderstood. Here, President Clinton leads Israeli and Palestinian leaders Ehud Barak and Yasser Arafat out before the press during peace negotiations. It's all smiles for the cameras, but behind the facade of bonhomie, there's a power struggle going on. Clinton jokingly explains that none of them will take any questions.
We punch to each other, we will answer no questions, offer no comments. So I have to set a good example.
The body language then revealed just why that was.
Wow. Almost a physical fight.
Many viewed this apparently lighthearted tussle as a sign that Arafat and Barak were getting on well. Think again.
There is a great meaning behind who goes through the door first. Now, of course, here in the West, letting someone through the door first doesn't really matter. It's fine, maybe. But in the Middle East, it has significant cultural impact.
The host, the power person, says, I'm in control, I'll help you through the door. I'll show you the way.
Sorry about that, folks. Just a little sidebar here. Just goes to show you, you don't have to be a perfect film editor, and I'm not. I am literally making this video right now in my office, but as you can hear, my dog is wanting to play right now, and I'm making this video because more importantly, it's not about how you make the video or how fancy and bells and whistles it is. I want you to pick up on this body language, and then as we talked about, once we're done director's cutting this director's cut of this, then we're going to talk about how this can apply to you. Not only if you're a bounty hunter or a bail bondsman, obviously that's my main thing, but in any business that you're dealing with people. If you want to know, are they shooting straight with you? Learn to read their body language. If you want to know, hey, are they even acknowledging me, listening to what I'm saying? Learn to read the body language. So let's continue on.
Thank you. Thank you.
Throw in the fear and tension present in most Middle East negotiations, and suddenly the desire of both Arafat and Barak not to go through that door before the other starts to make sense.
This is a classic example, in an extreme way, of how the last man through the door is the winner. So Barak reaches for Yasser Arafat. Arafat literally grabs his arm, moves around, and starts waggling his finger at Barak, who Barak then uses as an opportunity, like a wrestling match, to move around to actually be behind Arafat, and then literally grabs Arafat, holds him by the arm, and shoves him.
It looks like they're struggling to me. I'm surprised they didn't swing.
Power, struggle, showing in big, bold body language movements.
Arafat and Barak are not the only ones to appreciate the significance of the last man through the door move. Even when friends and allies meet, subtle cues reveal who's top dog. 2003, British Prime Minister Tony Blair plays host to President Bush.
In this particular example, we're looking at number 10 Downing Street, and one would expect Tony Blair to be very territorial. It's his territory, he should be host, he should be in charge, and the boss, in terms of who at least goes through the door.
And yet, Tony Blair, the Prime Minister, accepts that the seniority in place here is the President. So President Bush says, photo op's over, gives them the little nod, and so they start going in.
The President's in charge of the choreography.
He goes through the door last, he uses his left hand, and taps Blair forward, not shoving Blair through the door, but helping him through the door, meaning Bush is in charge.
As they go in, the president, being in charge and wanting to be clear that he's in charge, not only displays the ownership symbol of putting his hand on Tony Blair's back, but then he displays a further bit of dominance.
Gives him 3 little taps, just to let him know that actually he's a good little boy and that George W. Bush is boss.
A pat on the back is one way to demonstrate power. Getting the upper hand is another, quite literally. When body language savvy world leaders get together, they know there's one surefire moment to demonstrate dominance: the handshake photo op.
If you're looking at the left of the picture, they always want to be standing on the left of the picture. Let me demonstrate. If I'm shaking hands here, what's going to happen? I'm at the bottom of the handshake. My palm is facing up. That's a very vulnerable position. If I'm shaking hands here, and I've got my arm around the person, I'm shaking hands, who's got the upper hand? I've got the upper hand. If someone's coming in to shake your hand like this, here's the nice solid handshake, it should be straight and firm. If it's not...
Janine Driver teaches body language evening classes.
It's kind of hard to dominate. You're a powerful force.
She believes the visual impact of important handshakes was first appreciated in 1970, when Elvis Presley famously paid a visit to President Nixon at the White House.
We see a picture of Nixon and he's shaking hands with Elvis Presley. Nixon's got the upper hand. That's where the expression comes from.
And now you know the rest of the story. I once read a book, and I can't find it anywhere now, but it was a story called the story, or it was a book titled "The Story of a Handshake," and it was something along that lines. And it said the same exact thing. It said that when a person comes in to shake your hand, and they turn yours to the bottom or try to turn yours down instead of keep both hands side by side, that's because they think they're better than you and they're trying to impart power. Once again, what does that have to do with your business? Well, especially if you're in business, any kind of professional business, the first things you guys do usually during a meet and greet is the initial handshake. So you know that when somebody's coming in and twisting your hand to the bottom, they're trying to literally get the upper hand. One of the things that I always do, and it's if you've ever shaken hands with me, you can attest to this yourself, is I always come in with my palm facing up. And so then that just means to them, they think they're getting the upper hand. What does that have to do, especially when I'm out here in bail enforcement, which is primarily my specialty, and I'm interviewing and trying to gather information from somebody? That tells that they instantly think that they have the upper hand on me, so that anything, they're not going to be on their guard as much, so if you will, when they're giving me lies. That I already know they're going to lie to me, but now I'm helping to break through those lies somewhat, if you will, because now their guard's not quite as so their lies aren't going to be as guarded, if you will, and I'll be able to detect them more. What does all of that mean? Well, number one, when I'm out here, the whole purpose of me gathering information is to find the whereabouts of the fugitive. If somebody is lying to me, they're lying. We already know, because when we talked about in the previous video, liar, liar, people lie for one of two reasons, correct? You're either trying to protect yourself or protect somebody else. Those are the two primary reasons we lie about. If you've ever taken Bounty Hunter Pro or any one of my seminars, you know that we've gone into detail about lying and about this very same thing in quite some depth. You know, I did a study over the span of years and broke it into 5 different groups, and we determined who lies the most, so on and so forth. So we've already discussed that. That's not what we're going to talk about here. We're talking about body language. But that's the primary reason why I go in with the hand palm facing up for the undershake is basically, in a sense, that's a lie within itself, right? But it's so that I can let them drop their guard, put their guard down, and I can gather the true information that I'm actually going there to get in the first place. Let's continue on.
Got the upper hand here. So now that people you see them jockeying for position when it comes time to take the picture.
At this summit in 2006, hosted by Vladimir Putin, the Russian leader was on full handshake alert.
He strategically placed himself in a position where when they're coming forward, he's going to get the dominant position. They're coming out of cars this way, they're coming up to him, the cameras are here. Every single picture, who gets the upper hand? Putin.
Then, up strides Tony Blair.
You see that Tony Blair is going to actually grab onto Vladimir Putin's hands, this classic thing of grabbing somebody by the elbow to show who is actually the leader.
Score 1 for Blair. Next, it's President Bush's turn.
George Bush, on the other hand, then comes in and realizes he's on the wrong side of the photo. So when he reaches in to grab, he immediately crowds Putin. So instead of just grabbing and letting Putin grab his arm, George Bush puts his shoulder against Putin so that Putin's left arm is in no way in a position to grab hold of Bush's right arm. Then as soon as Bush turns out, he immediately goes for a little tap, a steer on Putin's back, to actually give him a push. And Putin, making sure not to be outdone, puts his right arm out and gives Bush a little tap as well.
We'll call that a draw. Even seated, the bodies of world leaders can speak volumes. Here's a masterclass from FDR.
With President Roosevelt presiding, the historic conference began.
February 1945. Franklin D. Roosevelt, Joseph Stalin, and Winston Churchill famously meet at the Yalta Conference.
The big three, surrounded by the chiefs of staff, with their staffs and civilian officials, posed for the cameras in the patio of the White House.
The Allies had worked together for 3 years, but now, with the end of the war in sight, Roosevelt knew all that was set to change.
We see three powerful men all wanting to dominate. Visually, Roosevelt's in the center. And the center figure always appears to us to be the most important.
And even when he's talking to Stalin, he turns the other way and Stalin leans in. Stalin is actually, if you like, following Roosevelt. Roosevelt is the real leader of the two.
Meanwhile, Churchill's body language is conveying Britain's diminishing status.
It doesn't look as though Churchill is a full and equal participant. Not only is his posture hunched up, but Roosevelt barely ever talks to him, and Stalin doesn't really meet him except to shake his hand.
Churchill has both elbows out. But the tell is that he's holding his hat in his lap to cover up his private parts, which feel kind of vulnerable in this situation.
You can see how each of these men, each, if you like, a master in their own country, how they interact with one another, what their relationship is in the world stage.
A politician's body language can easily give him away, especially when he's under pressure.
Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome this opportunity tonight to meet with the managing editors of the nation's newspapers.
It's the night of November 13th, 1973. Watergate is at its height. President Nixon holds a live televised question and answer session with the nation's newspaper editors.
At 8 years of 45,000...
His body language says it all. Nixon knew it was not going to be an easy evening.
Mr. Quinn.
Mr. President, this morning Governor asked you of Florida to address this group.
Stop. Right there, we see Nixon standing with his hands behind his back, which gives the indication that he has nothing to hide. He's got this open front. However, he's holding his wrist like this behind his back, and he's touching himself like this. It's called a self-touch gesture. He's basically saying, okay, here we go. I can get through this.
That's key, folks. You will find that when you're asking people very uncomfortable situations, this is exactly how they will what they will do. Again, if you're out there on the street, you're at interviewing Joe Skip's girlfriend and trying to find out where the fugitive is at, and you're talking to her, she may have her hands behind her back and doing that and fidgeting and whatnot. So very telltale sign, and you can see how this can be useful when you're out here gathering information on the whereabouts of your fugitive.
His words are combative. but his body language betrays anxiety.
As far as money is concerned, how is it possible for you to have this kind of investment when all you earned was $800,000 as president? Well, I should point out I wasn't a pauper when I became president. I wasn't very rich, as presidents go.
You can see in his body as he's trying to defend himself against essentially the press corps that is acting like a pack of wolves. He's holding himself away from the podium like he's going to be attacked from it.
In this case, Nixon is trying to protect himself from some searching questions.
I welcome this kind of examination because people have got to know whether or not their president's a crook. Well, I'm not a crook. I burned everything I've got.
He says, I'm not a crook, and immediately goes into retreat. His body backs away. Really clear tell. When somebody makes a statement, a definitive statement, and immediately retreats, we know they don't think they told the truth. They know they didn't tell the truth. They're escaping that lie.
Nixon also suddenly crosses his arms.
He goes immediately from that, quick arm cross, to protect himself. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I just said something. And
also, to the best of my ability.
Right there, shaking his head no.
Time and again throughout this exchange,
Bam, right away.
Nixon displays tellingly defensive body language.
Stop, look at this.
Everyone's body language is different. Each person has his own quirks. To unlock the secrets of body language, the experts rely on an analytical process they call norming.
When it comes to deciphering body language, norming is crucial.
reading body language, you're looking for what's normal for that situation. And you're looking for what's normal for that particular person.
Using the 24/7 coverage of politicians and celebrities, the experts construct a template of what's normal for that person. Okay, so I'm going to stop right there, and we'll pick up some more and bring this all together and how it's going to apply to everything in just a second here. All right, I'm back again. Man, that's some pretty crazy and wild stuff, isn't it? Anyway, let's go ahead and recap. Now, in the first video, we learned how to spot a liar and the primary reasons for lying. And again, I want to tell you, if you haven't seen that first video, go back and watch it. And then rewatch this one again, and it'll make sense to you, because all of this is coming together, and it's going to help you get the results that you're looking for in your business. So go back and do that if you haven't done so already. Now, in this video, we learned how to read body language and what it means to have the upper hand. I want to point out to you, though, that both of these techniques are skills. And like any skill, it requires practice so that you can master it. But once you get proficient at both of these, when combined together, can't you see how you are now armed with valuable tools that will allow you to get accurate information from the other party, even when they're unwilling to do so? And when combined with the next secret weapon that I'm going to reveal to you in the third video, you'll be able to command accurate information from others at will. So go ahead, leave me some comments below. Be sure to let me know your thoughts on this. Let me know what you think, yay, nay, or indifferent. I just appreciate your feedback, and it kind of helps to point me in the right direction as the training that you're looking for and want to see. And I'll see you in the next video.